Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes, your first one of 2026, and it is mildly disappointing. It's Hank Howard, Pizza Detective, The Two Hollywoods. It's a nice idea for a comic book. There's a lot about it which frustrated me, but I'm going to start with stuff that I liked, and that's you got David Lapham on the artwork, and if you're going to get somebody to do a kind of hard-boiled crime noir detective kind of thing, Lapham's going to be up there on your list of go-to artists, surely. I mean, he's got game, he knows what he's doing, he's got experience in doing this kind of thing, and there's a whole catalogue of work out there which proves just how good he is at fantastic individual character design, brilliantly formatted set pieces. His use of lighting and shadow with just working with black and white is really, really impressive, and he knows how to frame a scene. He can put your point of view in such interesting locations, so what could be otherwise a fairly pedestrian, undramatic sequence can just look full of menace and shadow. He genuinely is great at what he does, and honestly, his name being on it is one of those, like, yeah, okay, willing to give this one a go. Because when I saw the title, part of me kind of thought to myself that this is just going to be silly, and I don't mind silly sometimes, but I mean, Hank Howard, Pizza Detective, it feels like somebody really wants to do a crime noir thingy, but wants to do it in such a way that is going to be a parody of it. And that can work. It can work really effectively. I think even Tom King with his, he did one of the Saturday morning Looney Tunes crossover things with DC, and that was fantastic. And it is totally possible to do. But reading this, I've been reminded of things like Dark Regards, where it's clearly somebody who is more than happy to take the mickey out of Scandinavian extreme metal because they love it and they know how silly it is, and they're kind of on the inside of it, can see why it is kind of daft, and it's okay to take the mickey out of it. Like, if you love it, you can do it rather than just punching down on it. And when I was reading this one, it just didn't work in that way for me. Don't get me wrong, there's some nice noir moments in there. Some of the dialogue is properly laying it on thick in very cool ways. There's some nice little moments where it really does invite you to say it out loud, put on your most gruff PI voice to try and get a sense of what they were going for, and it really does work for that. The story of people dealing drugs while running a pizza thing, it feels like it's kind of a Route 1 start for a hard-boiled crime detective story, which is then going to end up going into some seedy underbelly. Very, very much the kind of thing which you'd expect for an issue 1 of this kind of story. The thing is, it's also really not taking itself too seriously. I mean, the guy is a private detective who's literally a pizza detective working for head office of a pizza company. Excuse me. And there's a couple of silly little moments in here, which some of it made me smile. I'm not going to deny that. I mean, when somebody with a name, I've forgotten what name's off the top of my head, and it's one of those you do kind of have to experience it. It feels like a very Naked Gun police squad kind of name for somebody. Been introduced as being part of the Florida Bureau of Investigation, so I was like, okay, that's kind of fun. I like that as a little play on expectations, but the more I was reading, the more it was kind of bugging me a little bit, and it genuinely took me a while to realise why it wasn't working for me. And it's partly down to what I mentioned about Dark Regards, but I think it also kind of fails in the fact that it's kind of trying quite hard to be a noir, but not quite hard enough. But it's also trying to be funny, but really not trying very hard at that at all. And it's just sitting there in this middle ground. Could go one of either way. It could have like taken itself 100% seriously, and it could have been great crime noir, or it could have carried on taking itself really, really seriously, and just played into an almost Batman 66 like Adam West Batman thing, where it is absolutely, absolutely stupid, but everyone plays it completely straight, and that's where the humour comes from. You could do that. Again, I'm thinking of Police Squad as being a really, really good example of that, but some of the jokes are just a little bit too, I don't know, they take you out of the world. It feels like with every other bit of the noir setting they've got for it, which is handled brilliantly, the jokes just, they stop you thinking like they're part of the world. It makes you feel like somebody is doing a gag. And weirdly, for this to be successful, you can't have that. It has to be played 100% straight. And yeah, just it misses both of its marks, one more than the other. It could still have been a really fantastic crime noir, and it's still got some elements in there which I really, really like. But in terms of that little parody of it and the silly little jokes, I just think it needed to be funnier, or it needed to be funny delivered better, shall we say. So, for the first one of the year, far from ideal, but it is only the start of the year. Got a whole bunch more to come. Until I see you all again, look after yourself, everyone. Stay safe.